Poetry. I think poetry is great because it allows you to hear something you're familiar with in a different way that causes you to maybe shift the perspective you have of this thing that you know. Like a love poem. A love poem is going to express something you're familiar with, love, but in a way that is new to you or fresh to you or unique to you. And it's a new way of feeling something you already know. So that's why poems, I think, are powerful, is because that's all they do, is they tell you things that you know you have a connection with and you feel it in a different way. You're generally not normally expressing something that people don't know. Maybe they don't know the environment that is being expressed to you. Maybe they're not familiar with the environment. It's foreign to them. But the idea within the environment is familiar. So I like that idea. I like the idea that when you're approaching creative ideas, is you always have notions that lead you in a direction, and you're usually comfortable about that notion because of your experience and things like that. But take that notion and then turn it upside down. See about looking at it in a different way and exploring it in a different way. And I think that might actually be an interesting angle or a way to kind of make the thing more interesting to the consumer of the thing you're working on. One of my favorite poems kind of taps into this because it has to do with the way that we see the world and how we are influencers in the manner in which we see it. So the world, it isn't a separate entity that expresses itself to you and then you just consume it. You have an impression of the world and then you look at the world through that impression, and the ideas that come back to you are actually your own ideas and your own perceptions. Very, very rarely are you so open-minded that you do not allow your own judgment to cloud your perception of the things that you see. It's kind of impossible, almost. Maybe as children we were able to do that, but as adults I think we're a bit jaded and we are too kind of set in our ways to do that. But Enigmas kind of does that, is the poem by Pablo Neruda for me. And it's one of my favorite poems. And, I kind of know a lot of it by heart, but I've got it right here just to make sure I don't mess it up. But I'll share some of it with you. This is basically a conversation somebody's having, possibly with themselves, about the different ways of that are possible to see things, and understanding that there's a difference between my truth and the truth beyond me, and in between there is something that connects them. So it's called Enigmas, and it's by Pablo Neruda, and it goes, "You've asked me what the lobster is weaving there with its golden feet. I reply, the ocean knows this. You ask me, what is the Acedia waiting for in its transparent bell? What is it waiting for? It is waiting for time, like you. You ask me whom the Master Sister Salge hugs in its arms. Study it. Study it at a certain hour in a certain sea, I know. You question me about the wicked tusk of the narwhal, and I reply by describing to you how the sea unicorn with a harpoon in it dies. You inquire about the kingfisher's feathers which tremble in the pure springs of the southern tides. Or you found in the cards a new question touching on the crystal architecture of the sea anemone, and you'll deal that to me now. You want to understand the electric nature of the ocean spines, the armored stalactites that break as it walks, the hook of the anglerfish, the music stretched out in the deep places like a thread in the water. I want to tell you that the ocean knows this, that life in its jewel boxes is endless as the sand, impossible to count, pure, and among the blood-colored grapes, time has made the petals hard and shiny, made the jellyfish full of light, and untied its knot, letting its musical threads fall from a horn of plenty made of infinite mother of pearl. I am nothing but the empty net that has gone on ahead of human eyes dead in those darknesses, a finger accustomed to the triangle longitudes of the timid globe of an orange. I walked around as you do, investigating the endless star, and in my net during the night I woke up naked. The only thing caught, a fish trapped inside the wind." So I think the poem, of course, has a lot of things going on in it, but basically it's a conversation of a person reflecting on the way that he sees everything. And in that line at the end that says, I am the empty net that has gone on ahead of human eyes dead in those darknesses, it's basically you throw yourself out there in the world, you express yourself, you throw it out, expecting to get something back, just like a net being thrown out into the ocean. And what happens is what we see when we bring it back, it only ends up being our own values and our own perspectives because we run it through those filters anyway. And that's what we end up seeing. We see ourselves in the net. And I think that's an interesting angle, and I think that's relevant to when we're looking at the creative process, is that we go ahead and do that. Oh, train's here. You hear the train? I don't know. Got a train coming by. Anyway, so that's something I think is relevant and interesting to consider when you're going through your creative process. Go ahead and go through it, but then take a look at the process and see if you can turn it on its head a little bit and change it a little bit, or come at it at a different angle to see if it opens up a little bit further and changes things. You have to feel slightly uncomfortable, because if you're too comfortable, you're probably been using the same methods. You have to do something that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Now, this could be even go to a different place that you're not normally used to brainstorm or to kind of come up with an idea, or change your environment slightly, but do something to change it up and see if that opens up something new in the way that you express it, and it makes it a little more interesting. Okay. Have a good day. Bye.